Welcome to Great Aunty Mel's Art Workshop. Yeah! Great Aunty Mel's Art Workshop. I'm going to give you guys a few ideas on some art projects while you're at home. While you're watching this video, you can pause at any time to discuss what I've been talking about or to undertake a task I might set you. When you've had a chat or you've done the task, just hit play again and we'll carry on. Today we're looking at perspective. So what is perspective? Well, if we look at the definitions in the dictionary, there's a couple of different ways it's described. The first description is a particular attitude towards something or a point of view. An example of this might be if you've got three people watching the same football game. It's being played between the Crows and Port Adelaide. You've got a Crow supporter, a Port supporter and a Richmond supporter. Port end up winning the game by 2 goals, but it's a close match. From the perspective of the Crow supporter, it wasn't a very good game because his or her team lost. From the Port supporter's perspective, it was a fantastic game. The Richmond supporter didn't really care which side won. They just wanted to watch a good game of football. So from their perspective, it was a good game. It was close and it was well played. So as you can see, same game of football, 3 different perspectives on it. So that's kind of the first definition of perspective. Let's have a look at the second definition. The second definition of perspective in the dictionary is this. It's the art of representing 3-dimensional objects on a 2-dimensional surface so as to give the right impression of their height, width, depth and position in relation to each other. That's a long definition. Let's break that down a little bit. The art of representing a 3-dimensional object on a 2-dimensional surface. A 2-dimensional surface is flat like a piece of paper. It has a length and a breadth or width. If you were asked to draw a square on a piece of paper, you would simply draw 4 lines of equal length with a 90-degree angle in each corner. We know that's a square. When we add a third dimension, things are no longer flat. A square represented in 3D is a cube. When we add a third dimension, things are no longer flat. Look at the dice. The dice is a cube. So if we go back to the first part of our definition of perspective, it was the art of representing 3D objects on a 2D surface. So if we take our dice, we want to represent that 3-dimensional object on a flat piece of paper. Outrageous! Wait a doggone minute. The definition talked about objects. It was plural. Let's think about that in terms of 2 dice. But let's keep going with our definition. So as to give the right impression of their height, width, depth and position in relation to one another. What does it all mean? So the height, the width and the depth of the object, they're the measurements of the object. What we might refer to as the scale. We talk about scale models of cars and trains. And these are just small but appropriately proportioned or scaled down representations of the true larger object. Architects use scale models of buildings that they've designed. These are a scaled down representation of what the building will look like when it's finished. So let's go to the next part of our definition. The next part talks about the object's position in relation to one another. So when we're looking at 2 objects that are exactly the same size, but one object is further away than the other one, it looks smaller to us. Here's a little exercise. Draw 2 parallel lines going in the same direction and equal distance from one another. Now put a dashed line down the middle. Let's say that's a road. If you were floating in the sky and looking straight down on a road, that's what it would look like. One thing that we know about parallel lines is that they never meet, and if this road didn't end, the sides of the road would go on forever. But if you were standing in the middle of the road and looking at the road going off into the distance, it would look like this. This is called the vanishing point, the point at which receding parallel lines viewed in perspective appear to converge or meet. We know the sides of the road, those parallel lines, don't ever meet, but with perspective they do. Let's draw a stick figure next to the road nearest us. Now let's draw a stick figure halfway down the road and another stick figure towards the end of the road. Let's look at that definition with respect to our drawing. The art of representing 3D objects on a 2D surface so as to give the right impression of their height, width, depth, and position in relation to one another. Have we achieved this definition with this simple drawing? I think we have. So the basic idea of perspective is to show that something nearer to you appears larger and something further away appears smaller. Here's another example. If I draw the floor of an empty room, the width of the room at the back appears smaller, even though we know that the room is the same width all the way along. It appears as though the walls start to converge, just like the sides of our road. The parallel lines don't converge here because the walls aren't as long as the road. Now I'll put a drawing of a chair in the room. Now I'll put another drawing of a chair of equal size in the room next to the other chair. If the chairs are the same size and they're exactly the same distance from the person looking at them, they should appear to be the same size. But if I were to draw a chair at the back of the room, this chair should appear smaller, even though it's the same size as the other chairs. And that would be showing perspective. So I'm going to set you guys a task now. On a new piece of paper, use your ruler to put a mark in the centre of the paper. This is going to be your vanishing point. Draw lines from your vanishing point to each corner of the paper. The top triangle is your sky. The bottom triangle is a road or river. The sides of the triangles are what's at the side of your road or river. It might be buildings, trees, telegraph poles, whatever you like. So using the guidelines, you can draw a perspective drawing. When those pictures are in, rub out the guidelines. What you'll end up with is a perspective drawing. There'll be a vanishing point going off into the distance, and you'll have objects that may or may not be the same size, but they get smaller as they get further away from you. So have a great go at it. Use colour. I'd love to see some pictures of what you end up doing, and if you could send them through and I'll have a look at those. Okay guys, have fun with that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Can't wait. Alright, catch you later.